They're killing our mother." The scream tore through the thunderstorm. 2 pairs of bare feet hit the clubhouse door. Bloody, shredded. 9 years of terror in every strike. Emma's arm hung broken. Sophie's face was already purple. Behind them, 3 miles back through desert and lightning, their mother was dying on a kitchen floor, while men with guns tore the house apart. Maria Castellanos ripped open the steel door. 2 children collapsed at her feet, gasping, bleeding, clutching each other like drowning swimmers. "Please," Emma sobbed. "He's beating Mama to death right now. His friends have guns. We ran. We didn't know where else to go. Please help her." 60 seconds later, 22 motorcycles exploded into the night. The war had begun. If this story moves you, hit subscribe. Stay until the end. Comment your city. Let's see how far courage travels. The door flew open and Maria Castellanos nearly knocked the girls over. 6 feet tall, 48 years old, black hairstyle with silver, wearing a leather vest over a white tank top that showed 20 years of tattoos and scars. Former Army medic, current president of the Crimson Riders. She'd opened this door to a lot of things in her life, but nothing prepared her for 2 children standing in a lightning storm bleeding. Inside, Maria said, "Not a question, a command." The girls stumbled across the threshold, and the heat hit them like a wall. 12 bikers sat around a long wooden table covered in coffee cups and maps and cigarette butts. Every single one of them froze. Big men with beards and leather and hard faces who'd seen combat in prison and bar fights that ended with ambulances. Every one of them went stock still at the sight of 2 little girls dripping blood onto concrete. Emma opened her mouth, but nothing came out except a sound somewhere between a sob and a scream. Sophie collapsed, just folded at the knees like someone cut her strings. Maria caught her before she hit the floor. "Marcus." Maria's voice cracked like a whip. Marcus Cole moved faster than any man his size should be able to move. 43 years old, 260 pounds of muscle and scar tissue, vice president of the Crimson Riders, 6 tour in Afghanistan before the club. He had a blanket around Sophie in 3 seconds flat. "She's breathing," Marcus said. "Shock, get the first aid kit." A biker named Tommy Wrench Martinez was already running, 31, skinny as a rail, covered in grease stains and tattoos of engine parts. He came back with a red tackle box that Maria ripped open. Emma was shaking so hard her teeth clicked together. Her left arm hung limp, bent wrong just below the elbow. Compound fracture. Bone hadn't broken through skin, but it was close. Her bare feet were shredded, cuts full of gravel and dirt. Her pajamas, pink with cartoon dogs, were torn at the shoulder and splattered with something dark that wasn't rain. Maria knelt in front of Emma. "Eye level, the way you approach a wounded animal. Sweetheart, my name is Maria. You're safe now. Nobody here is going to hurt you, but I need you to tell me what happened. Can you do that?" Emma's eyes were too wide, pupils blown. She looked at Maria, and then past her at the wall of bikers, and then back at Maria, and her whole face crumbled. "They're beating Mama," Emma whispered. "He came home drunk, and he brought men and Mama tried to stop them, and he hit her, and she fell down, and she's not moving, and there's so much blood, and he said, take your time." "Honey." "Who said what?" "Derek, my stepdad. He said he'd kill her this time. He said nobody would care. He said we were next." The room temperature dropped 20. Maria watched every biker at that table react, jaws clenching, hands becoming fists, eyes going flat and cold. These men knew violence. They'd lived it. But violence against women and children, that was a line you didn't cross and live to brag about it. "Where's your house, Emma?" 1512 Desert Rose Road, 3 miles south. "Please, we have to go back. We have to help her. They're still there. All of them." Maria stood up and looked at Marcus. He was already on his phone. 911, Marcus said into the phone. "Domestic violence in progress. 1512 Desert Rose Road. Female victim. Severe injuries. Children fled the scene. Send units now." He listened for 5 seconds. His face changed. He pulled the phone away from his ear and looked at Maria. "Dispatcher says units are already en route. Officer Carl Brennan responded 20 minutes ago and cleared the scene. Says it was a verbal dispute. Parties separated. No injuries reported. Emma grabbed Maria's arm with her good hand. Her grip was desperate. Fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. No, that's Derek's cousin. Officer Brennan is his cousin. He won't help. He never helps. Mama called the police 4 times, and Officer Brennan always says, everything's fine. And then Derek gets worse. Maria's expression didn't change, but something behind her eyes went arctic. She turned to a woman standing near the back, 42 years old, short dark hair, sharp features, wearing reading glasses on a chain. Rachel Numbers Ortiz, club treasurer, and the only person in the room with a law degree. Rachel, we've got a domestic violence situation with compromised law enforcement. What's our exposure if we roll out there? Rachel didn't hesitate. If children are in danger and law enforcement failed to respond appropriately, citizens have the right to render aid. Document everything. Photos, video, witnesses. Make sure someone calls 911 again from the scene. You're not vigilantes if you're protecting kids until real help arrives. Good enough. Maria turned back to the table. Wrench, grab the cameras. Luis, bring the first aid kit. Marcus, you're with me. Everyone else, mount up. We're riding to Desert Rose Road right now. Wait. Sophie's voice was so small, almost got lost. She'd woken up in Marcus's arms, wrapped in a blanket twice her size. What about Emma's arm and our feet? We can't go back like this. Maria knelt down again. You two aren't going anywhere except to a hospital. Marcus is going to stay here with you and Rachel. They'll take care of you. The rest of us are going to get your mother. I promise you, sweetheart. We will bring her back. But I need to know, is there anything else? Weapons, drugs, anything that makes this more dangerous than it already is? Emma looked at Sophie. Some silent conversation passed between them. Twin thing. Emma turned back to Maria. Derek has a gun, black. He keeps it in his truck, and the men with him. I saw one of them carrying a duffel bag. It was heavy. Derek called him Mr. Vorse. A biker near the door swore under his breath. Vorse. Carl Vorse. That's Victor Morales' enforcer. If Vorse is there, this isn't just domestic violence. This is cartel. Maria's face didn't change, but her voice got quieter, colder. How do you know Victor Morales? The biker, Danny Smokestack Ruiz, 51, former iron worker, with burn scars up both arms, shifted his weight. My brother worked construction for Morales, saw things he shouldn't have seen, ended up in the hospital with his knees shattered. Vorse did it personally. Morales doesn't send Vorse unless someone needs to disappear. Emma started crying again, not loud, just tears streaming down her face while she stood there shaking. Mama found papers. 2 weeks ago, she was cleaning Derek's truck and found papers with names and numbers. She said Derek was working for bad people. She said she was going to the FBI. She made me and Sophie promise that if anything happened to her, we'd tell someone. Anyone who would listen. Did she go to the FBI? She tried. She called. They said they'd send someone, but nobody came. Then last night, Derek was on the phone yelling at someone about a problem that needed to be handled. I heard him say Mama's name. I knew something bad was coming. Maria stood up slowly. She looked at her club. 22 bikers in various states of readiness, some already heading for the door, some strapping on knives, one checking a pistol that nobody was supposed to see. Listen up, Maria said. Her voice carried without her having to shout. Command voice, officer voice. The voice that kept soldiers alive in Kandahar. We're rolling into a situation with cartel muscle and a dirty cop. Nobody does anything stupid. Nobody throws the first punch. We get in. We secure the victim. We document everything and we get out. If it goes sideways, you follow my lead. Are we clear? 22 voices. Clear. Maria turned to Marcus. Keep these girls safe. If anyone comes through that door who isn't us, you know what to do. Marcus nodded. His hand moved to his belt. Emma saw the handle of something dark tucked there and looked away fast. Sophie grabbed Maria's vest. You promise you'll bring Mama back. Maria crouched down one more time. She took Sophie's small hand in both of hers. "Sweetheart, I've made a lot of promises in my life and broken some of them, but I will not break this one. Your mother is coming back and the people who hurt her are going to answer for it. That's not a promise. That's a guarantee." She stood up and walked out into the rain. 21 motorcycles roared to life behind her. Inside the clubhouse, Rachel was already on her phone with the hospital. Marcus sat on the floor with both girls, talking in a low, steady voice about nothing important, just filling the silence, keeping them grounded, keeping them breathing. Emma stared at the door where Maria had disappeared. Are they really going to help Mama? Marcus looked at this tiny girl with the broken arm and the shredded feet and the kind of fear in her eyes that number 9-year-old should ever have to carry. "Kid, I've known Maria Castellanos for 11 years. I watched her pull 3 soldiers out of a burning Humvee in Helmand province. I watched her talk down a man with a gun to his own head in AVA parking lot. I watched her build this club from 8 people to 83. And in 11 years, I have never once seen her break her word. If she said she's bringing your mother back, she's bringing your mother back, even if she has to go through every man in that house to do it." Sophie leaned against Marcus's shoulder. He was warm and solid, and he smelled like motor oil in coffee. "What if there's too many of them? Then we call more people. Rachel, how many chapters can we pull from?" Rachel looked up from her phone. "Arizona has 34, Texas has 51, Colorado has 22. If Maria puts out a code black, we could have 100 bikers here in 6 hours. See, you're not alone anymore. Nobody fights alone when they're with us." Emma closed her eyes. For the first time in 3 smiles, 3 hours, 3 weeks of living in terror, she let herself believe that maybe someone was actually going to help. 1512 Desert Rose Road was a small ranch house at the end of a dirt road, surrounded by scrub brush and desert. Lights on inside, 2 trucks in the driveway. No police car, no ambulance, no indication that anyone had responded to anything. Maria killed her engine half a mile out. Hand signal. Everyone else did the same. They coasted the last stretch in silence, parking in a line along the road. 22 bikers dismounted and moved like they'd done this before, because most of them had. Iraq, Afghanistan, Fallujah, Kandahar. Streets with no names, where the wrong move got you killed. Maria assigned positions. Wrench and smokestack circled around back. Luis, Bones, Padilla, and 2 others covered the sides. Maria, Danny, and 6 more approached the front. Through the living room window, 4 men, 1 standing guard near the door, to tearing through cabinets, pulling out drawers, dumping contents on the floor. And Derek Vaughan, 37 years old, 6'0", 220, wearing jeans and a stained undershirt, blonde hair buzzed short, tattoos at both arms, standing over a woman on the floor. Isabel Torres, 34 years old, a nurse, small frame, long dark hair matted with blood. She wasn't moving. Derek was yelling at her, kicking furniture, pacing. One of the men, Vos, had to be 6'4" and built like a tank, said something Maria couldn't hear through the glass. Derek laughed, actual laughter. Then he bent down and grabbed Isabel's hair, lifting her head off the floor. Her face was unrecognizable, swollen, split lip, blood everywhere. Maria's hand moved to her phone. She started recording. Wrench was doing the same from the back window. Evidence, everything documented. Then Derek let Isabel's head drop. It hit the floor with a sound Maria heard even through the window. And Isabel didn't move, didn't flinch, nothing. Maria made a decision. She walked up to the front door and knocked. 3 hard knocks. Official knocks. The house went silent. The guard near the door moved toward it, hand going to his waistband. Maria knocked again. Open up. We hear about the 911 call. She heard Derek swear. Heard Voss say something sharp. Heard footsteps. The door opened 6 in. The guard looked out. Young guy, maybe 25, trying to look tough. There's no emergency here. Wrong address. Maria smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. That's funny because 15 minutes ago, 2 little girls showed up at our door bleeding and scared out of their minds, saying their mother was being beaten to death. So, either you open this door and let us check on her, or I call the real police and explain why you're obstructing a welfare check. Lady, you need to leave now. That's not happening. The guard's hand moved toward his gun. He never got there. Louise was behind him somehow, had come through an unlocked window. Louise's arm went around the guard's throat. The guard dropped like a sandbag. Derek appeared in the doorway. His shirt was splattered with blood. His knuckles were split. He looked at Maria, and then past her at 21 bikers standing in his yard, and his face went white. Who the hell are you? We're the people Emma and Sophie ran to when you decided to beat their mother half to death. Step aside. We're coming in. You can't just, this is private property. Your stepdaughters are 9 years old, barefoot, and bleeding. They ran 3 miles in a thunderstorm because they were terrified you were going to murder their mother. That makes this a child welfare emergency. Now move. Derek didn't move. He tried to close the door. Maria put her boot against it. 240 pounds of biker muscle hit that door from the other side and it flew open. Derek stumbled backward. Maria walked in. Her crew followed. The living room, like a tornado, hit it. Furniture overturned, drawers dumped, papers everywhere, and Isabel on the floor in a pool of blood that was still spreading. Maria went straight to her, dropped to her knees, checked pulse, thready but their breathing shallow, skull fracture, maybe definitely broken ribs, collapsed lung, internal bleeding. Call 911 again. Maria said real ambulance now. Tell them critical trauma, head injury, possible internal bleeding, move. Wrench was already dialing. Derek found his voice. You can't be in here. This is my house. Isabel attacked me. I was defending myself. Maria looked up at him. Her hands were covered in Isabel's blood. She's 5'4" and 115 pounds. You're 6'2" and 220. You want to tell me again how you were defending yourself? Voss stepped forward. The enforcer Morales' man. He had dead eyes. Shark eyes. You're making a mistake. All of you. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Maria stood up slowly. She was 5 inches shorter than Voss, but she didn't back up an inch. Actually, I know exactly who I'm dealing with. Carl Voss, Victor Morales' enforcer. 3 arrests for assault, 2 for extortion, 1 for attempted murder. All charges drop because witnesses disappeared. You're the guy who shatters kneecaps when people don't pay protection money. Voss's expression didn't change. You've done your homework. That should tell you to walk away. Here's what's going to happen. That woman on the floor is going to the hospital. Those 2 girls are never coming back to this house. And every single one of you is going to answer for what you did tonight. That's not a threat. That's a weather report. Derek laughed high and shaky. Adrenaline crash. You think you can protect them. You think some biker gang scares Victor Morales. He owns this town. Cops, judges, CPS, all of it. Those girls are going right back to me because I'm their legal guardian and there's not a damn thing to do about it. Maria smiled again. Same cold smile. We'll see. Sirens in the distance. Real sirens this time. The ambulance wrench called. Maybe police. Maybe not. Didn't matter. Maria pulled out her phone and showed Derek the screen. Video. Clear footage of him kicking Isabel. Grabbing her hair. Dropping her head on the floor. That's evidence of aggravated assault. Attempted murder. Maybe. I've got 3 cameras recording from 3 angles. Every person in this room is a witness. And those 2 girls you terrorized, they're safe somewhere, you'll never find them. With people who actually give a damn. Derek's face twisted. This isn't over. You don't know what you just started. Yeah, Maria said quietly. I do. The ambulance arrived. Paramedics rushed in. Maria stepped back and let them work. Isabel was loaded onto a stretcher. Still unconscious. Still barely breathing. The paramedics looked grim. Officer Carl Brennan arrived 30 seconds behind the ambulance. He took one look at the scene. Bikers everywhere. Derek covered in blood. His cousin in handcuffs courtesy of Louise. And his face went red. What the hell is this? Who called you people? Maria walked up to him. Same height, eye to eye. A 9-year-old girl showed up at our clubhouse 23 minutes ago, with injuries consistent with physical abuse. They reported their mother was being beaten. They reported that you responded to an earlier call and cleared the scene, despite obvious signs of domestic violence. They reported that you're Derek Vaughan's cousin, and you've covered for him multiple times. So, here's what happens next. You arrest Derek and his friends for assault and attempted murder. You document the scene. You take our statements, and you do it by the book, because if you don't, I'm calling the FBI and explaining exactly how Victor Morales has a dirty cop on his payroll. Brennan's hand moved toward his gun. 21 bikers moved forward. Just a step. Just enough. Brennan stopped. You're threatening a police officer. I'm a witness reporting a crime. Big difference. An older officer appeared in the doorway. Sergeant Patricia Reyes, 58, 30 years on the force. She looked at the scene at Brennan, at Maria, inside like she'd seen this exact thing 100 times. Brennan outside now. The rest of you, nobody moves. She waited until Brennan was on the porch. Maria could hear raised voices. Couldn't make out words. Didn't need to. 2 minutes later, Sergeant Reyes came back in alone. Officer Brennan is being placed on administrative leave pending investigation. I'm taking over this scene. Someone want to tell me what happened here? Maria told her every detail. Emma and Sophie showing up. The 911 call that Brennan cleared. The assault, the cartel connection, the video evidence. Sergeant Reyes listened without interrupting. When Maria finished, Reyes turned to Derek. Derek Vaughan, you're under arrest for aggravated assault, child endangerment, and about 6 other charges. I'm going to add once I talk to those girls. You have the right to remain silent. Derek didn't go quietly. He screamed about lawyers and rights, and how his cousin would fix this. Voss and the other 2 men were arrested without a word. They knew the drill. They'd be out on bail by morning. Morales would see to that. But for tonight, Isabel was in an ambulance racing toward the hospital. Derek was in handcuffs, and somewhere 3 miles north, 2 little girls were finally safe. Maria walked out of that house and stood in the rain. Her hands were still bloody. Her vest was splattered. She pulled out her phone and called the clubhouse. Marcus, we got her. She's alive? Barely. Heading to County General. How are the girls? Stable. Rachel's got Emma's arm splintered. Doc Chen is on the way to look at them. They keep asking about their mother. Tell them she's safe. Tell them we're bringing her home. And Marcus, nobody leaves those girls alone. Not for a second. Derek made threats. Morales is going to retaliate. We just kicked a hornet's nest. Understood. We're ready. Maria hung up. She looked at her crew. 21 men and women standing in the rain covered in someone else's blood, because 2 children knocked on their door. Meeting at 0600, Maria said. We need a plan. This doesn't end tonight. Morales will come for the girls, for Isabel, for us. So, we're going to do what we do best. We're going to protect our own. Smokestack spoke up. Boss, those kids aren't ours. Maria looked at him. They are now. The hospital waiting room smelled like disinfectant and bad coffee. Maria sat in a plastic chair that was bolted to the floor, still wearing her bloody vest, watching Emma and Sophie sleep on a vinyl couch across from her. Marcus had wrapped them both in blankets. Rachel sat beside them reading something on her phone, jaw tight. Dr. Sarah Chen came through the double doors at 2:47 in the morning. 41 years old, trauma surgeon, dark circles under her eyes from a 12-hour shift that had just become 14. She looked at Maria, and her expression said everything before she opened her mouth. Isabel's in surgery. Fractured skull, collapsed left lung, 4 broken ribs, internal bleeding in her abdomen. We had to remove her spleen. The head injury is what concerns me most. There's swelling. We won't know the extent of the damage until she wakes up. If she wakes up, Maria said. Dr. Chen didn't lie to her. If she wakes up, the next 72 hours are critical. She's strong. She's a fighter. But I need you to understand that even if she survives, she may not be the same person she was before tonight. Emma stirred on the couch, her eyes opened. She'd heard every word. Is Mama going to die? Dr. Chen knelt down in front of her. Doctors had a way of doing that, getting on a child's level, making eye contact. Emma, your mother is very sick right now. We're doing everything we can to help her. She's in surgery, and we have our best team working on her. But I can't make you promises I might not be able to keep. What I can tell you is that she's still fighting and she needs you to be strong for her. Can you do that? Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face, but she nodded. Sophie grabbed Maria's hand. Can we see her? Not yet, sweetheart. She's in surgery, but when she's out, when she's stable, I'll make sure you can see her. I promise. Rachel's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and her face went pale. She stood up and walked to the corner of the waiting room. Maria watched her shoulders tense, watched her hand tighten on the phone. When Rachel came back, her voice was controlled, but her eyes were furious. Derek made bail, posted 20 minutes ago. Judge Gerald Crane signed the release order. Conditions of bail include no contact with Isabel or the children. But he's out. Maria stood up slowly. 20 minutes ago. He beat a woman half to death 4 hours ago, and he's already out. Crane is on Morales's payroll. Has been 4 years. Everyone knows it. Nobody can prove it. How much was bail? $250,000 cash paid in full by a bondsman named Richard Cross. Cross works exclusively for Morales. Marcus swore under his breath. So Derek walks and we're sitting here with 2 kids who can identify him and testify against him. That's exactly the problem. Rachel said CPS is going to get involved. Emergency custody hearing. They'll try to place Emma and Sophie in the system. If Morales controls the judge and CPS, those girls disappear into a foster home and we never see them again. Maria looked at the twins. They were holding hands. To 9-year-old girls who'd run 3 miles through a storm because every adult in their lives had failed them. Every system designed to protect them had looked the other way. And now the system was going to try to put them right back in danger. That's not happening, Maria said quietly. Maria, you can't just watch me. Rachel grabbed her arm. If you take those girls, if you hide them, that's kidnapping. Morales will use it against you. He'll have you arrested. The club's shut down. Everything you've built destroyed. Then he better bring an army, because I'm not letting those kids go back into a system that's already failed them twice in one night. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Young woman, maybe 26, name tag, said Jennifer. Miss Torres' daughters. There's a man here asking about them. Says he's from Child Protective Services. Name is Robert Galloway. Maria's blood went cold. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I know. He says it's urgent. Emergency custody situation. Where is he? Main entrance. Security won't let him pass without authorization. Maria turned to Marcus. Stay with the girls. Don't let them out of your sight. Rachel, you're with me. They walked to the main entrance. Robert Galloway was exactly what Maria expected. 40-some, cheap suit, tired eyes, carrying a briefcase and a clipboard. He saw Maria coming and his expression shifted. Not quite fear, weariness. I'm looking for Emma and Sophie Torres. I'm here to place them in emergency protective custody at 3 o'clock in the morning. Their mother is incapacitated. Their stepfather has been arrested. Standard protocol requires immediate placement to ensure the children's safety. Rachel stepped forward. I'm Rachel Ortiz, attorney representing the Torres family. On what grounds are you seeking emergency custody? Galloway didn't blink. Endangerment. The children fled a dangerous domestic situation. Mother is unable to care for them. Stepfather is violent and unstable. They need immediate placement in a safe environment. They're in a safe environment. They're with responsible adults in a hospital waiting room. They're with members of a motorcycle club with documented histories of criminal activity. Maria's hands became fists. What documentation? Galloway opened his briefcase and pulled out a file. Maria's name on the tab. He opened it. Arrest record from 23 years ago. Assault, charges dropped. Disorderly conduct. Bar fight also dropped. Nothing stuck because nothing was prosecutable. but it was all there in black and white. Miss Castellanos, you have a history of violence. I have a history of defending myself. Big difference. Regardless, you're not a suitable guardian. I'm authorized to take the children into state custody effective immediately. Rachel held up her phone. I have Judge Patricia Hammond on speed dial family court. She's handled every custody case in this county for 15 years. You want to wake her up at 3 o'clock in the morning and explain why you're removing children from responsible adults without a hearing, without evidence of immediate danger, and without following proper protocol. Because I'm happy to make that call. Galloway's jaw tightened. This is proper protocol. No. This is Victor Morales trying to get his hands onto witnesses before they can testify. How much is he paying you, Mr. Galloway? I don't know what you're talking about, really. Because Derek Vaughan made bail 26 minutes ago, and you showed up here 23 minutes ago. That's quite a coincidence. Galloway's face flushed red. I'm doing my job. Those children are at risk. The only risk to those children is people like you who take money from men like Morales and call it public service. Rachel, step closer. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave this hospital. You're going to file your emergency custody petition through proper channels, and you're going to wait for a hearing like everyone else. And if you try to take those girls without a court order, I'll have you arrested for attempted kidnapping. Are we clear? Galloway stared at her, then at Maria, then at the 3 security guards who'd appeared behind Maria. Hospital security, big guys, arms crossed, not subtle. This isn't over, Galloway said. No, Maria said. It's not, but tonight those girls stay with us. Galloway left. Maria watched him through the glass doors until his car disappeared into the dark. He'll be back, Rachel said. With a court order. Maybe police. We bought time. That's all. How much time? If Morales pushes it, 6 hours, maybe less. Maria pulled out her phone. She scrolled through contacts and dialed. The line rang twice. This better be life or death, Viper. The voice on the other end belonged to James Cordero, 63 years old, president of the Crimson Riders, Arizona chapter, former Marine Corps colonel. The man who'd given Maria her road name 15 years ago, though she'd talked down a hostage situation with nothing but a leather vest and sheer nerve. Code Black, Maria said. To children, mother in ICU, cartel involvement, corrupt cops in judges, CPS trying to disappear the kids into the system. I need bodies. Silence for 3 seconds. Then how many? Everyone you can spare. I've got 34 patched members. I can have 20 on the road in an hour. Where? County General Hospital, Albuquerque, and James. This is going to get ugly. Morales owns half the system here. If we fight this, we're fighting everyone. Then we fight everyone. Those kids yours. Maria looked through the waiting room window. Emma and Sophie asleep on the couch. Marcus sitting guard. 2 little girls who trusted her with everything. Yeah, they're mine. Then they're ours. We'll be there by 0800. Maria hung up and made 3 more calls. Colorado, Texas, Nevada. Same conversation, same response. By the time the sun came up, 68 Crimson Riders would be converging on Albuquerque from 4 states. Rachel was staring at her. You just started a war. Morales started it when he sent his enforcer to beat a woman half to death in front of her children. I'm just finishing it. They walked back to the waiting room. Emma was awake. Sophie was still sleeping. Marcus had gotten them juice boxes from somewhere. Apple juice in tiny boxes with bendy straws. Emma was drinking hers slowly, staring at nothing. Maria sat down beside her. Hey, sweetheart, how you holding up? That man, the one who wanted to take us, he works for Derek, doesn't he? Maria didn't lie. She'd promised herself she wouldn't lie to these kids. Not ever. Probably. A lot of people work for the man Derek works for. They're going to try to take you and Sophie away, put you in the system, make it hard for you to testify about what you saw. Are you going to let them? No. What if they come with police? What if they have papers? Then we'll fight the papers. We'll go to court. We'll get lawyers. We'll do whatever it takes. But Emma, I need you to understand something. This is going to get hard. Really hard. There are going to be people who say we're the bad guys. People who say you're not safe with us. People who try to use the law against us. Can you handle that? Emma looked at Maria with eyes that had seen too much for 9 years on Earth. Miss Maria, I've been handling hard things my whole life. So has Sophie. We can handle this, too. As long as you don't quit on us. I don't quit. Promise. Blood oath. Emma held out her pinky finger. The kind of promise kids make on playgrounds. Maria linked her pinky with Emma's and squeezed. Dr. Chen came back at 4:15. Isabel's out of surgery. She's stable. Still critical, but stable. We've induced a coma to help with the brain swelling. She'll be in ICU for at least 48 hours. After that, we'll start bringing her out of it and see where we are. Can the girls see her? Dr. Chen hesitated. She doesn't look like herself right now. There's a lot of swelling, machines, tubes. It might be traumatic. Emma stood up. I want to see her. I don't care what she looks like. She's my mom, and I want to see her. Sophie woke up at Emma's voice. Me, too. Dr. Chen looked at Maria. Maria nodded. Let them see her. They walked through the ICU in single file. Dr. Chen leading. Emma and Sophie holding hands. Maria and Marcus behind them. Rachel stayed in the waiting room making calls. Isabel was in room 7. The door was glass. You could see everything before you went in. Emma stopped in the doorway. Her hand went to her mouth. Sophie made a sound like someone punched her. Isabel looked dead. That was the first thought. Pale as paper. Face swollen beyond recognition. Tubes in her nose and throat. Machines beeping. 4 lines running into both arms. Bandages wrapped around her head. One eye swollen shut. The other purple and black. Emma walked in slowly. Sophie followed. They stood at the bedside staring at their mother, like they were trying to memorize her. Trying to make sure she was real. Mama. Emma whispered. It's me and Sophie. We're okay. We're safe. Maria helped us. The bikers helped us. You don't have to be scared anymore. We're going to take care of you now. Sophie reached out and touched Isabel's hand so gently like she was afraid it would break. We love you, Mama. Please wake up, please. Isabel didn't move, didn't respond. Just the steady beep of machines keeping her alive. Maria stood in the doorway and watched these 2 little girls hold vigil over their broken mother, and something in her chest cracked open. She'd seen combat, roadside bombs, soldiers dying in her arms. But this watching children try to be strong when everything in their world had shattered. This was different. This was worse. Marcus put his hand on Maria's shoulder. We're doing the right thing. Yeah, doesn't make it easier. At 6:03 in the morning, Maria's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered anyway. Miss Castellanos. Male voice, smooth, educated, dangerous. Who's this? My name is Victor Morales. I believe you have something that belongs to me. Maria's blood turned to ice. She walked out of the ICU into the hallway, pressed the phone tight against her ear. I don't have anything of yours. To children, Emma and Sophie Torres. They're witnesses to a private family matter. I'd like them returned. They're not property. You can't return them. Morales laughed, soft, almost friendly. Castellanos, I appreciate your sense of justice. I really do. But you're operating under a misunderstanding. Those children saw things they shouldn't have seen. Their mother found documents she shouldn't have found. This situation needs to be resolved quietly and efficiently. If you cooperate, there's money in it for you, enough to make it worth your while. I'm not interested in your money. Everyone's interested in money. Name your price. There is no price. Those kids are under my protection. They stay under my protection. And if you or anyone working for you comes near them, you're going to find out exactly what the Crimson Riders do to people who hurt children. Long silence. When Morales spoke again, his voice had changed. No more friendly, just cold. You're making a mistake. I own this city. Police, judges, CPS, city council. I've been building this network for 20 years. You're a motorcycle club with no legal standing and a history of criminal activity. You think you can protect those children? I'll have them in foster care by noon. I'll have you arrested by sunset. And by this time tomorrow, everyone will forget you ever existed. Try it, I will. And Miss Castellanos, when those children disappear, when their mother has an unfortunate accident in the hospital, when your clubhouse burns to the ground with everyone inside, remember that I gave you a chance to walk away. The line went dead. Maria stood in the hallway staring at her phone. Her hands were shaking, not with fear, with rage so pure and focused it felt like fire in her veins. Marcus appeared beside her. What happened? Morales just threatened to kill Isabel, take the kids, and burn down the clubhouse in that order. What did you say? I told him to try it. Marcus almost smiled. Good, because they're here. Maria looked out the window. The parking lot was filling with motorcycles. 20, 30, 40 more coming. Arizona plates, Colorado, Texas, Nevada. Riders in full colors, vests with patches from chapters across the Southwest. They parked in formation, dismounted, walked toward the hospital entrance like an army. James Cordero walked through the doors first, 63, but moved like 40, silver beard, scar across his left eyebrow, eyes like flint. He saw Maria and nodded once. Viper Serpent heard you started a war with the cartel. Wasn't planning on it. Never are. Where are the kids? Maria led him to the ICU. Emma and Sophie were still at Isabel's bedside. James looked at them, looked at Isabel, looked at Maria. They tried to kill the mother in front of the children. Yeah, and now they want the children disappeared. Yeah. James turned to the gathered riders, filling the hallway. 68 men and women, every chapter represented. Listen up. To 9-year-old girls ran to one of our clubuses last night because every system designed to protect them failed. Police failed, courts failed, CPS failed. So, they came to us and we don't fail ever. Morales thinks he can intimidate us. He thinks we'll back down because he owns the legal system. He's wrong. We're staying here. We're protecting these children and their mother. And anyone who tries to take them goes through all of us. Are we clear? 68 voices. Clear. Maria's phone rang again. Rachel. Maria. Judge Crane just signed an emergency custody order. Sheriff's deputies are en route to the hospital. ETA 12 minutes. They're coming for the girls. Maria looked at the crowd of bikers, at Emma and Sophie, at Isabel lying unconscious in a hospital bed. Let them come. The deputies arrived at 6:32. For patrol cars, 8 officers. They walked through the hospital entrance and stopped cold when they saw what was waiting for them. 68 bikers standing shoulder to shoulder, arms crossed, blocking every hallway that led to the ICU. Not threatening, not aggressive, just present. An immovable wall of leather and loyalty. Deputy Chief Ronald Martinez led the group. 54 years old, 30 years on the force. He'd worked with Maria before. Mutual respect. He looked at the crowd inside, like a man who knew his day was about to get complicated. Maria, I've got a court order signed by Judge Crane. Emergency custody of Emma and Sophie Torres. I need you to step aside and let us do our job. Maria didn't move. Show me the order. Martinez handed it over. Maria read it slowly. Rachel appeared at her elbow and read over her shoulder. The order was legitimate, signed, sealed, legal in every way that mattered. This order was signed at 5:47 this morning. Rachel said less than an hour ago. Judge Crane signed an emergency custody order at dawn without a hearing, without notifying the family's attorney, without any evidence that the children are in immediate danger. That's not protocol. That's a hit job. Martinez shifted his weight. I don't like the orders. I enforce them. Those girls need to come with us. Where are you taking them? Maria asked. Emergency foster placement. Family Services has a home ready. Whose home? I don't have that information. Rachel pulled out her phone and started typing. Give me 2 minutes. I'm filing an emergency motion to stay this order. Judge Hammond will hear it. Judge Hammond isn't on call this weekend. Crane is. Then we'll wake Hammond up. This order is garbage and you know it. Martinez looked uncomfortable. Rachel, I've got my orders. I don't like this any more than you do, but I've got a job to do. Your job is to protect children, not deliver them to the cartel. Every officer behind Martinez reacted to that, heads snapping up, hands moving away from weapons. Martinez's face went hard. That's a serious accusation. It's the truth. Victor Morales called Maria an hour ago, threatened to kill these children's mother and take the kids. 30 minutes later, you show up with an emergency order from a judge who's on Morales' payroll. You do the math. Martinez turned to his officers. Wait outside, all of you. Chief, we have orders. I said wait outside. The officers left slow, reluctant, but they left. Martinez waited until the doors closed behind them before he spoke. Off the record, way off the record. I know Crane is dirty. Everyone knows it. Nobody can prove it. And until someone does, his orders are legal and binding. If I don't enforce this order, I get fired. My pension disappears. My family loses everything. You're asking me to throw away 30 years for 2 kids I don't know. Maria stepped closer. I'm asking you to do the right thing. Those girls ran 3 miles barefoot through a thunderstorm because their stepfather was beating their mother to death. They came to us because every system failed them. Police failed them. CPS failed them. And now you are going to fail them, too, by handing them over to the same people who tried to kill their mother. Is that the cop you want to be? Martinez looked at the floor, at the ceiling, anywhere but at Maria. What do you want from me? 48 hours. Give us 48 hours to get a real hearing in front of a real judge. Let Rachel file the motion. Let the girls stay here with their mother. If we lose in court, we lose, but give them a fighting chance. And if Morales comes after me, if Crane has me fired, then you come work for us. The Crimson Riders take care of their own. That includes people who stand up when it matters. Martinez was quiet for a long time. Behind him through the glass doors, his officers were watching, waiting, wondering what was taking so long. 48 hours, Martinez said finally. But Maria, if this blows up, if those girls disappear, if anything happens to them, that's on you. I know. Martinez turned and walked out. Maria watched him talk to his officers, watch them argue, watch Martinez pull rank and shut it down. The patrol cars left one by one until the parking lot was quiet again. Rachel grabbed Maria's arm. That bought us time, but it didn't solve the problem. Crane will issue a bench warrant, send different officers, maybe state police, maybe federal marshals if Morales pushes hard enough. Then we use the time we have. What do you need? Evidence. Real evidence that Morales is behind this. Phone records, financial transactions, something that connects him directly to Derek, to Vorse, to the assault. Right now, we've got a theory. We need proof. A voice spoke up from the crowd. I can get you proof. Everyone turned. The speaker was a woman in her late 30s, short, dark hair, glasses, wearing a leather vest with an Arizona patch. She stepped forward. I'm Luna Kim, tech specialist, former NSA. If Morales is dirty, he left a digital footprint. Give me access to Derek's phone and I can trace every call, every text, every transaction back to the source. Derek's phone is evidence, Rachel said. Police have it. Police also have a leak. Brennan's on administrative leave. But he's not the only dirty cop in this city. Someone will make that phone disappear before it gets logged into evidence. I need to get to it first. Maria looked at Luna. You're talking about breaking into the police evidence locker. I'm talking about recovering evidence before it gets destroyed. There's a difference. That's a felony. So is beating a woman half to death in front of her children. I'll take my chances. James Cordio stepped forward. Luna's one of ours. If she says she can do it, she can do it. But Maria, this is your call. You're the one putting your neck on the line. Maria thought about Emma and Sophie sleeping in the ICU waiting room. Thought about Isabel fighting for her life surrounded by machines. Thought about Morales' voice on the phone promising to burn everything to the ground. Do it, Maria said. But Luna, if you get caught, I won't. Luna left with 3 other bikers, backup lookouts, people who knew how to move quietly and hit hard if things went sideways. Maria watched them go and hoped she hadn't just made a mistake that would cost someone their life. Inside the ICU, Emma was awake. She'd been awake 4 hours, sitting beside her mother, holding her hand, talking to her. Even though Isabel couldn't hear, couldn't respond, couldn't do anything except breathe with the help of machines, Sophie was asleep in a chair. Marcus had found blankets somewhere, hospital blankets that smelled like bleach and industrial detergent. He tucked Sophie in like she was his own daughter. Emma looked up when Maria walked in. Are they gone? The police, for now. They're coming back, though, probably. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, Miss Maria, what happens if the judge says we have to go? What happens if they make us leave Mama? Maria sat down beside her. Emma, I'm going to be honest with you because I think you deserve honesty. There are people trying very hard to take you and Sophie away. They have power. They have money. They have judges and police working for them. We're fighting them with everything we've got. But I can't promise we'll win. So, we might lose. We might. But here's what I can promise. We will fight for you until there's nothing left to fight with. We will stand between you and anyone trying to hurt you. And if we lose in court, we'll keep fighting outside of it. You're not alone anymore. You understand? Emma nodded slowly. Can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you doing this? You don't know us. We're nobody special. Why risk everything for us? Maria looked at this 9-year-old girl with the broken arm and the old eyes in the kind of courage most adults would never find. You ran 3 miles through a storm carrying your sister because you were trying to save your mother's life. You knocked on a door belonging to people you'd never met because you had nowhere else to go. You trusted us when every adult in your life had given you reasons not to trust anyone. That's not nobody, Emma. That's a hero. And heroes take care of each other. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She didn't cry, just let them run down her face while she held her mother's hand. I'm scared, Emma whispered. Me, too, really, really. Being scared doesn't make you weak. It makes you smart. But being scared and doing it anyway, that's what makes you brave. At 7:15, Luna called. I'm in. Found Derek's phone in the evidence locker. It wasn't even logjet. Someone was definitely planning to make it disappear. I'm pulling everything now. Call logs, texts, photos. Give me 20 minutes. How much time before someone notices it's missing? If we're lucky, a few hours. If we're not, they already know. Maria hung up and turned to James. We need to move the girls. If Luna gets caught, Morales will know we have evidence. He'll come harder, faster. We can't stay here. Move them where? Hospital's the safest place. Isabel's here. Medical staff. Witnesses everywhere. Hospital's also where everyone knows we are. Where police can walk in with a warrant, and there's nothing we can do about it. We need a safe house somewhere off the grid. Somewhere Morales can't find them. A biker named Carlos spoke up. My cousin has a ranch 2 hours north. Middle of nowhere. No neighbors. No cell service. Completely off the grid. He owes me a favor. Call him. While Carlos made the call, Maria walked back to the ICU. Dr. Chen was checking Isabel's vitals. She looked tired. More than tired. Exhausted. Like she'd been running on coffee and determination for 3 straight days. How is she? Maria asked. Stable. No change. The coma is protecting her brain, while the swelling goes down. Another 24 hours, and we'll start the process of bringing her out. But Maria, even if we do this perfectly, even if everything goes right, there's a chance she won't wake up. And if she does wake up, there's a chance she won't be the same. Memory loss, cognitive impairment, personality changes. I need you to prepare those girls for that possibility. How do I prepare 9-year-olds for the possibility that their mother might not remember them? Dr. Chen didn't have an answer for that. Rachel burst through the doors. We've got a problem. Judge Hammond agreed to hear our emergency motion, but Crane got wind of it. He's filing a counter motion, obstruction of justice, contempt of court. He's coming after you personally, Maria. If this hearing goes wrong, you could be arrested. When's the hearing? Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, County Courthouse. That's less than 24 hours. I know I'll have something prepared, but Maria, you need to understand what we're up against. Crane's been on the bench for 18 years. He's connected, respected. If we accuse him of corruption, without ironclad proof, he'll destroy us. We need what Luna's pulling from that phone. We need it before tomorrow morning. Luna called back at 7:49. Got it. Everything. Call logs show 47 calls between Derek and a number registered to Victor Morales in the last 2 months. Text messages discussing money transfers, property locations, work schedules, and Maria. There's photos. Derek's been documenting everything. Every payment, every meeting, every person involved. It's all here. Can you prove the number belongs to Morales? Already done. Cross-referenced with public records, business filings, court documents. It's his personal cell, not a burner, not a business line. His actual phone. The idiot used his real number. Rachel grabbed the phone. Luna, can you send me everything? I need it. Admissible chain of custody. Everything documented. Already doing it. Uploading to a secure server. Sending you the access codes. But Rachel, there's something else. Something worse. What? Photos from the warehouse where they beat Isabel. There's other people in those photos. Women, young women tied up, locked in a back room. This isn't just money laundering and protection rackets. Morales is trafficking people. The room went silent. Maria felt something cold settle in her stomach. How many women? At least 6 in the photos. But there's references to other locations, other properties. This is bigger than we thought. Maria looked at James, at Rachel, at the 68 bikers standing guard in the hallway. They'd come to protect the children. Now they were standing on the edge of something that could bring down an entire criminal network. Send everything to Rachel, Maria said. And Luna, get out of there. If they catch you with that evidence, you're dead. Already gone. At 8:15, Emma asked the question Maria had been dreading. Miss Maria, are we leaving? Mama, just for a little while. Just until it's safe. Your mom's going to be in the hospital 4 days, maybe weeks. We can't stay here the whole time. We need to move you somewhere where else can't find you. What if Mama wakes up and we're not here? Then the doctors will call us and we'll come right back. I promise. Sophie had woken up. She looked terrified. I don't want to leave her. What if something happens? What if she dies and we're not here? Maria knelt down in front of both girls. Listen to me. Your mother is strong. Stronger than anyone I've ever met. She survived what Derek did to her. She survived surgery. She's going to survive this. But right now, the best way to help her is to keep you safe. That's what she would want. That's what she fought for. Can you trust me on this? Emma looked at Sophie. Sophie looked at Emma. That twin thing again. Some wordless communication that adults would never understand. Okay, Emma said quietly. But we come back as soon as it's safe. We come back as soon as it's safe. They left at 8:43. Carlos drove. Maria rode shotgun. Emma and Sophie in the back seat. Marcus and 3 other bikers followed in a second vehicle. 2 more bikes road escort. They took back roads, avoided highways, doubled back twice to make sure nobody was following. The ranch was exactly what Carlos promised. Middle of nowhere. Dirt road that barely qualified as a road. No power lines, no cell towers, just deserting sky, in silence. Carlos's cousin met them at the gate. Woman in her 60s named Rosa. Weathered face, kind eyes. She took one look at Emma and Sophie, and her expression softened. Bring them inside. I've got food, clean beds. Nobody's going to find them here. Inside. Rosa had set up 2 bedrooms with fresh sheets and nightlights and stuffed animals that looked like they had been waiting for grandchildren who never came. Emma and Sophie walked through the house like they were afraid to touch anything, like nice things weren't meant for them. This is for us, Sophie asked. All yours, Rosa said. For as long as you need it. Emma started crying. Not scared crying, relief crying. The kind of crying that happens when you've been holding everything together for so long that the first moment of actual safety breaks you wide open. Rosa pulled her into a hug. then pulled Sophie in, too. Two little girls who'd been running and fighting and surviving for so long they'd forgotten what it felt like to be held by someone who wanted nothing except to keep them safe. Maria's phone buzzed. "Rachel, tomorrow morning 9 o'clock. Judge Hammond's courtroom. Bring everything we've got. Luna's evidence, witness statements, medical records, photos from the warehouse. We're going for broke. If we win, we get custody. If we lose, we don't lose," Maria said. She hung up and looked at Emma and Sophie. They were eating soup that Rosa had heated up, real food. First meal in hours that wasn't hospital vending machine garbage. They looked small, fragile, like the weight of the world was finally lifting off their shoulders. Marcus pulled Maria aside. "You know what's going to happen tomorrow?" "Yeah, Morales isn't going to let this go to court. He's going to move before we get there. He's going to try to eliminate the threat. That means us. That means the girls. That means anyone who can testify." "I know. So, what's the play?" Maria looked out the window. 68 motorcycles parked in a semicircle around the ranch house. 68 riders who dropped everything and ridden through the night for two children they'd never met. "We stand," Maria said. "We go to that courthouse tomorrow morning. We present the evidence. We fight in court the way it's supposed to be fought. And if Morales wants to stop us, he's going to have to go through all of us to do it." Marcus smiled, grim, determined. "Good, because I'm tired of running." At 11:17 that night, Maria's phone rang. "Unknown number," she answered. Victor Morales' voice was calm, almost pleasant. "Miss Castellanos, I hear you're planning to make things difficult tomorrow." "You heard right. I'm going to give you one last chance. Walk away, drop the custody case. Let the system handle those children the way it's supposed to. And in return, I'll forget this ever happened. No retaliation, no consequences. You and your people ride away and everyone lives. What happens to Emma and Sophie? They'll be placed in an appropriate foster home. Their mother will recover in peace. Everyone gets what they need, except the part where you make them disappear the second they're in your custody." Morales laughed. "You're smart. I appreciate that. But you're not smart enough to understand when you're beaten. Tomorrow morning, you walk into that courthouse with stolen evidence obtained through illegal means. I'll have you arrested before you reach the bench. Your lawyer will be disbarred. Your club will be labeled a criminal organization and shut down. And those two little girls will end up exactly where I want them anyway. You're not saving anyone. You're just destroying yourself. Maybe, but at least I'll go down fighting." That's the problem with people like you. You think fighting matters. It doesn't. Money matters. Power matters. I have both. You have neither. This ends tomorrow, one way or another. The line went dead. Maria stood in the darkness staring at her phone. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Everything they'd fought for coming down to one hearing in front of one judge with evidence that might not be admissible and a cartel leader with enough power to destroy them all. Emma appeared in the doorway. "Miss Maria, are you okay?" Maria turned around. "Yeah, sweetheart. Just thinking about tomorrow. Are we going to win?" Maria looked at this 9-year-old girl who'd survived more than most people survived in a lifetime. Who'd run 3 miles barefoot through a storm. Who'd trusted strangers with everything. Who deserved better than the world had given her. "I don't know," Maria said honestly. "But win or lose, we're going to fight like hell." Emma walked over and hugged her. Arms around Maria's waist, head against her chest. Holding on like Maria was the only solid thing in a world that kept shifting. "Thank you," Emma whispered, "for not giving up on us." Maria hugged her back. Never. Morning came too fast. Maria woke at 5:30 to the sound of motorcycles. More riders arriving. She walked outside and counted 83 bikes. Now, word had spread through the network. Riders from as far as Utah and California. People who'd never met Emma or Sophie, but understood what it meant when you put out a code black. James was already awake, coffee in hand, looking at the horizon like he could see what was coming. "We've got a problem," he said without turning around. "What kind of problem?" "The kind where Morales filed 3 counter motions overnight. One claiming you kidnapped the girls, One claiming Luna stole evidence. One demanding immediate arrest warrants for everyone involved. Judge Crane signed all 3 at 4 this morning. Maria's stomach dropped. So, we're already criminals before we walk into that courthouse. That's the idea. He's trying to flip the narrative. Make us the bad guys. Make himself the victim. Classic cartel playbook. Rachel came out of the house. She looked like she hadn't slept. Her eyes were red. Her hands were shaking as she held her coffee cup. I've been on the phone with Judge Hammond since midnight. She's willing to hear our case, but she can't override Crane's warrants. The second you step foot in that courthouse, you'll be arrested. All of you. So, what do? We don't go. We file remotely. I present the evidence. You stay here with the girls. Keep them safe. Let the legal system work. Maria shook her head. The legal system hasn't worked for them yet. Why would it start now? Because we have evidence. Real evidence. Luna pulled phone records, financial transactions, photos of the trafficking operation. That's enough to open a federal investigation. That's enough to bring morals down. And how long does that take? Weeks, months. Meanwhile, Emma and Sophie are in the system. Isabel's alone in a hospital bed. Morales has time to clean up his operation and make everyone disappear. No, we go. We face this head on. James put his hand on Maria's shoulder. If you walk into that courthouse, you're going to jail. All of us are. That's not a maybe. That's a guarantee. Then we go to jail. But those girls get their day in court. They get to tell their story. And maybe that's enough to change things. Emma's voice came from the doorway. She was standing there in pajamas, 3 sizes too big. Hair tangled from sleep. Eyes wide and scared. You're going to jail for us. Maria turned around. We're going to court. There's a difference. Miss Rachel just said you'd be arrested. That's a possibility. So you could go to jail. You could lose everything because of me and Sophie. Maria walked over and knelt down eye level the way she always did. Emma, listen to me. What's happening isn't your fault. You didn't ask for any of this. You didn't ask Derek to hurt your mother. You didn't ask Morales to run a criminal empire. All you did was knock on a door and ask for help. That's not something to feel guilty about. That's something to be proud of. But if you go to jail, then we go to jail. But you and Sophie stay safe, and your mother gets justice. That's worth it. Emma started crying. Sophie appeared behind her. Both girls standing in the doorway looking lost and scared, and far too young to carry this kind of weight. We don't want you to go to jail, Sophie whispered. I know, sweetheart, but sometimes doing the right thing means risking the wrong consequences. You understand. They didn't. How could they? They were 9 years old, but they nodded anyway, because these were children who'd learn to nod and agree and go along with whatever the adults decided, because fighting back only made things worse. At 7:15, Maria's phone rang. Dr. Chen, Isabel's waking up. Maria's heart stopped. What? She's coming out of the coma early. We didn't induce it. Her brain did it on its own. She's fighting to wake up. I need the girls here now. If she wakes up alone and disoriented, she could hurt herself trying to find them. We're 2 hours away. Then drive fast. Maria hung up and turned to Marcus. We need to get to the hospital. Isabel's waking up. Court's in 90 minutes. I know. But those girls need to be there when their mother opens her eyes. Everything else can wait. They loaded into vehicles. Maria drove. Emma and Sophie in the back. Marcus riding shotgun. 6 bikes for our escort. They hit 80 miles per hour on empty desert roads. Blew through stop signs. Ran red lights in small towns when nobody was awake to see. Emma gripped Sophie's hand so tight her knuckles went white. What if Mama doesn't remember us? What if she wakes up and doesn't know who we are? Then we'll help her remember, Maria said. We'll tell her stories, show her photos, whatever it takes. But she's your mother. That doesn't go away just because her brain got hurt. They reached the hospital at 8:37, 23 minutes before the hearing was supposed to start. Maria called Rachel. We're at the hospital. Isabel's waking up. I can't make the hearing. Maria, if you don't show up, Crane wins by default. He gets emergency custody. The girls go into the system. Everything we fought for disappears. Then you fight for us. Present the evidence. Make the case. Do what you do best. I can't do this without you. Yes, you can. You're the best lawyer I know. You've got everything you need. Luna's evidence, medical records, witness statements, photos from the warehouse. Use it. Make Hammond see the truth. Make her understand what's at stake. Rachel was quiet for a long moment. What if it's not enough? Then we tried. That's all anyone can do. Maria hung up and walked into the hospital with Emma and Sophie. The ICU was quiet. Morning shift just starting. Dr. Chen met them at the door. She's conscious barely. She's asking for her daughters. Doesn't remember what happened. Doesn't remember Derek or the assault or any of it. Last thing she remembers is putting the girls to bed 3 nights ago. She doesn't remember being beaten. The brain sometimes blocks traumatic memories. It's a defense mechanism. She might remember eventually. She might not. But right now, all she knows is that she's in a hospital and her daughters aren't with her. They walked into room 7. Isabel was awake, eyes open, but unfocused, staring at the ceiling, tubes still running into her arms, bandages still wrapped around her head, face still swollen, but less than before. She turned her head when she heard footsteps, and her eyes found Emma and Sophie. "My babies," Isabel whispered. Her voice was rough, barely there. "Where are my babies?" Emma and Sophie ran to the bed, careful not to pull any wires, careful not to hurt her. They climbed up on either side and pressed against her. Isabel's arms came up, weak, shaking, but she held them, pulled them close, started crying. "You're okay. You're okay. I was so scared. I dreamed something bad happened. I dreamed." She stopped, looked around. "Where am I? What happened?" Dr. Chen stepped forward. "Isabel, you're in the hospital. You were injured. You've been in a medical-induced coma for 2 days. You're safe now. The girls are safe. Everyone's okay. Injured? How?" Nobody answered. Maria watched Isabel's face, watched her try to remember, watched the fear creep in when the memories wouldn't come. "Derek," Isabel said suddenly. "Where's Derek? Did he do this? Did he? Oh, God. Did he hurt the girls?" "The girls are fine," Maria said. "Derek's in jail. He can't hurt anyone anymore." Isabel looked at Maria, really looked at her. "Who are you?" "My name is Maria Castellanos. I'm president of the Crimson Riders Motorcycle Club. Your daughters came to us 2 nights ago. They were scared. They needed help. We've been protecting them since." Isabel's face crumbled. "They ran. My babies ran because I couldn't protect them." "You did protect them," Emma said fiercely. "You fought Derek. You tried to stop him. You got hurt because you were protecting us. We ran because we didn't want him to hurt you more." "I don't remember. I don't remember any of it." "That's okay, Mama. You don't have to remember. You just have to get better." At 8:57, Rachel called. "I'm in the courtroom. Judge Hammond is here. So is Crane. So is Morales' lawyer. The place is packed. Media everywhere. This is going to be a circus. Do what you can," Maria said. "Maria, there's something else. The FBI is here. 2 agents. They want to talk to you about the photos Luna pulled from Derek's phone, about the trafficking operation. They're opening a federal investigation." Maria's heart jumped. "That's good, right? That means Morales is going down. But it also means you're a witness in a federal case. You can't leave town. You can't take the girls anywhere. We're all stuck here until this plays out." "How long?" "Weeks, maybe months. These investigations take time." Maria looked at Emma and Sophie curled up against their mother, Isabel holding them like she was afraid they'd disappear if she let go. "We'll deal with it. Just win this hearing." At 9:03, the hearing started. Maria couldn't see it, but Rachel narrated through the phone on speaker. "Judge Hammond is presiding. Crane sitting at the prosecution table looking smug. Morales' lawyer is here. Some sharp from Phoenix, named Thomas Whitmore. He's already objecting to everything. Claims the evidence is inadmissible because it was obtained illegally." "What's Hammond saying?" "She's reviewing the evidence now. Luna's phone records, the photos, financial transactions. She's not saying anything but her face. Maria, she's angry. She knows what this is. She knows Crane is dirty. Victor Morales' voice came through the courtroom audio. Calm, professional, playing the victim perfectly. Your Honor, my client is a respected businessman. These accusations are baseless and defamatory. The evidence presented was obtained through illegal means by a criminal organization with a history of violence and intimidation. This entire proceeding is a witch hunt designed to destroy my client's reputation and business interests. Rachel's voice came back sharp. Your Honor, the evidence speaks for itself. 47 phone calls between Derek Vaughan and Victor Morales in the 2 months leading up to the assault on Isabel Torres. Text messages discussing money transfers and business arrangements. Photos showing women being held against their will in properties owned by Morales' shell companies. This isn't defamation. This is documentation of a criminal enterprise. Judge Hammond's voice. Older woman, tired but firm. Mr. Whitmore, I've reviewed the evidence. Whatever its origins, it's compelling enough to warrant further investigation. I'm granting temporary custody of Emma and Sophie Torres to Maria Castellanos and the Crimson Writers, pending the outcome of the federal investigation into Mr. Morales' business dealings. The courtroom erupted, shouting objections, Whitmore's voice rising above it all. Your Honor, you can't possibly. This is outrageous. These people are criminals. Mr. Whitmore, what's outrageous is a 9-year-old girl running 3 miles barefoot through a storm because every system designed to protect her failed. What's outrageous is a woman nearly beaten to death while her children watched. What's outrageous is a judge signing emergency custody orders at 4 in the morning without a hearing. I've had enough. The girls stay with Miss Castellanos. This hearing is adjourned. The gavel came down like a gunshot. Rachel's voice came back breathless. We won, Maria. We won. Maria couldn't speak. She looked at Emma and Sophie. They were staring at her. Hope and fear mixed together in equal measure. Did we win? Emma asked. Yeah, sweetheart. You get to stay with us. Emma started crying. Sophie joined her. Isabel pulled them both close, even though the movement made her see in pain. Thank you, Isabel whispered to Maria. Thank you for saving my daughters. They saved themselves. I just opened the door. At 9:42, 2 FBI agents walked into the IQ, man and woman, both in suits, both carrying badges. The woman spoke first. Maria Castellanos. I'm Agent Sarah Rivera. This is Agent Tom Chen. We need to speak with you about Victor Morales and the evidence recovered from Derek Vaughan's phone. What do you need to know? Everything. Start from the beginning. The night the girls showed up at your clubhouse. What they told you. What you found. What you've documented. We're building a RICO case against Morales, racketeering, money laundering, human trafficking, corruption. We need your testimony. And if I testify, then you help us take down one of the largest criminal organizations in the Southwest. But Miss Castellanos, you need to understand what you're getting into. Morales has killed people for less than what you've done. Witnesses disappear. Families get threatened. He will come after you, after your club, after anyone who stands between him and freedom. Maria looked at Agent Rivera. He already threatened to burn down our clubhouse with everyone inside. He already tried to take these girls and make them disappear. He already owns half the system. So tell me what's different if I testify. The difference is we can protect you. Witness protection, new identities, fresh start somewhere he'll never find you. And the girls, they come with you. Isabel, too. Once she's recovered, you'd all disappear together. Emma grabbed Maria's hand. No, we don't want to disappear. We want to stay here. We want to go home. Sweetheart, if Morales stays free, you can't go home. He'll find you. He'll finish what Derek started. So, we helped the FBI put him away, Emma said, voice stronger than Maria had ever heard it. We testify. We tell everyone what he did, and we make sure he can't hurt anyone else. Agent Chen looked at Emma. You're 9 years old. You've been through more trauma than most people experience in a lifetime. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Because if I don't, some other kid is going to end up like me. Some other mother is going to end up like mine. And I'm tired of bad people winning because good people are too scared to fight back. Rivera exchanged a look with Chen. She's right. But this won't be easy. Morales' lawyers will tear you apart on the stand. They'll question everything. Your credibility, your memory, your motives. Are you prepared for that? I ran 3 miles barefoot through a thunderstorm carrying my sister because I was trying to save my mother's life. I think I can handle some lawyers. Maria almost smiled. She can do it. They both can. What do you need from us? Depositions, witness statements, everything documented. And we need to move fast. Morales knows we're coming. He's already destroying evidence, liquidating assets, getting ready to run. We've got maybe 48 hours before he disappears. At 10:15, Marcus called. Maria, we've got a situation at the clubhouse. Someone tried to burn it down last night. Gasoline accelerant. Someone saw them and called it in before it spread. But the message is clear. Morales is done playing nice. Anyone hurt? No, but Maria, they're escalating. Next time, they might not stop at property damage. Then we don't give them a next time. FBI is opening a federal investigation. They're moving on Morales in 48 hours. We just need to hold out until then. 48 hours is a long time when someone's trying to kill you. Maria looked at Emma and Sophie. Isabel holding them close. 3 people who'd survived hell and come out the other side broken, but breathing. Then we hold out whatever it takes. At 11:30, Isabel's memory started coming back. Not all at once, pieces, fragments. She remembered Derek coming home drunk, remembered men with him, remembered trying to call the police and Derek ripping the phone out of her hand, remembered the first punch, the way the floor felt when she hit it, the sound of Emma screaming. She started hyperventilating. Dr. Chen had to sedate her. Emma and Sophie watched their mother slip back into unconsciousness, and something in their faces changed, got harder, older. He did this, Emma said quietly. Derek and Morales and everyone who helped them. They did this to Mama. And they're not going to get away with it. At 117, Victor Morales called Maria one last time. You made a mistake today, Miss Castellanos. Judge Hammond won't protect you forever. The FBI won't keep you safe. And those 2 little girls, they're dead. Their mother's dead. You're dead. Everyone you love is dead. That's not a threat. That's a promise. You had your chance to walk away. Now you burn with everyone else. Maria's voice was ice. Come try it. Bring everyone you've got. Bring your enforcers and your dirty cops and your bought judges. Bring the whole rotten system. Because we'll be waiting. And Mr. Morales, when this is over, when you're in a federal prison for the rest of your life, I want you to remember that you lost everything because the 9-year-old girls were braver than you ever were. She hung up, turned to James. How many riders do we have now? 97. More coming. Good, because Morales just declared war and we're going to finish it. The war lasted 36 hours. It started at 2 in the morning when 3 SUVs rolled up to Ross's ranch. No headlights, engines quiet, 6 men with guns. They didn't know that Marcus had installed motion sensors on every road leading to the property. Didn't know that 12 Crimson Riders were waiting in the darkness with weapons of their own. The firefight lasted 4 minutes. When it was over, all 6 men were on the ground with zip ties around their wrists. One of them was Cole Vorse, Morales' enforcer. The man who'd helped Derek beat Isabel half to death. Maria walked up to him. He was bleeding from a shoulder wound. Nothing fatal. Marcus had been careful. Where's Morales? Maria asked. Voss spat blood. Go to hell. You first. Maria pulled out her phone and called Agent Rivera. I've got a present for you. Carl Vorse and 5 of his friends just tried to kill 2 9-year-old girls. Their gift wrapped and ready for pickup. Rivera was there in 20 minutes with a tactical team. They loaded Vorse and his crew into armored vehicles. Rivera pulled Maria aside. This helps. Vorse has been untouchable for years. If we can flip him, get him to testify against Morales, this whole thing comes down like a house of cards. He won't flip. Men like him don't. Men like him do when they're facing life in federal prison. Give me 48 hours. I'll get him talking. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Judge Crane was arrested. FBI agents walked into his house with a warrant and found $200,000 in cash hidden in his basement. Bank records showing deposits from shell companies tied to Morales. Email correspondence discussing case outcomes in payment schedules. The judge who'd signed Derek's release in the emergency custody order was let out in handcuffs while news cameras rolled. Rachel called Maria at 7:15. It's happening. The whole network is collapsing. Crane's been arrested. 3 other judges are under investigation. 5 cops, including Brennan, the CPS supervisor. Denise Harding just resigned. Morales is losing his protection. What about Morales himself? Still in the wind. FBI has warrants, but he's not at his house, not at his business, not anywhere they can find him. He's running. Emma was awake. She'd heard everything. She walked over to Maria with Sophie right behind her. If he's running, does that mean we won? It means we're winning, but he's still out there, still dangerous. We can't let our guard down. I want to see Mama. They drove back to the hospital under escort. 10 motorcycles, armed riders, taking different routes, watching 4 tails. The hospital had increased security, guards at every entrance, metal detectors, no visitors without ID. Agent Chen was standing in the lobby when they arrived. Miss Castellanos, we need to move Isabel Torres. Morales knows she's here. We've intercepted chatter about a hit. We're transferring her to a secure federal facility. She just woke up. Moving her leaving her here could get her killed. We don't have a choice. Isabel was conscious when they walked into her room. She looked better, less swollen, more alert. She saw Emma and Sophie and started crying. My babies, come here. They climbed onto the bed, careful, gentle. Isabel wrapped her arms around them and wouldn't let go. They want to move you, Maria said. FBI thinks it's safer. Isabel looked at Agent Chen. How long until Morales is in custody? Could be days, could be weeks. And my daughters, they go with you. Protective custody. All of you together. Emma shook her head. No, we're staying with Miss Maria. She promised to protect us. We trust her. Agent Chen crouched down. Emma, I understand, but the people trying to hurt you are professionals. They have training, weapons, resources. Miss Castellanos and her club have done an incredible job so far, but this is different. This is federal witness protection. This is what we do. Miss Maria's kept us alive this long. I know, but no buts. We stay together, all of us. Me and Sophie and Mama and Miss Maria and everyone who helped us. That's the deal. Isabel pulled Emma close. Sweetheart, maybe the agent is right. Maybe it's safer if Mama. These people opened the door when nobody else would. They fought for us when the police didn't care. They went to court for us. They almost went to jail for us. I'm not leaving them. Maria felt something break open in her chest. This 9-year-old girl who'd been failed by every system, choosing loyalty over safety, choosing family over protection. Agent Chen, what if we combine resources? Your security, our people, work together instead of separately. Chen looked uncertain. That's not standard protocol. Nothing about this case has been standard. We've got 97 riders spread across 4 states who will die before they let anything happen to these girls. You've got federal resources and legal authority. Together we're stronger than separate. Chen pulled out his phone, made a call, talked in low tones for 3 minutes. When he hung up, his expression had changed. My supervisor agreed. Conditional cooperation. We provide security oversight. You provide manpower. But everyone follows FBI protocol. No cowboy stuff. No vigilante justice. We do this by the book. Agreed. At 10:30, Colvos started talking. Agent Rivera called with the update. He gave us everything. Names, dates, locations, properties where Morales is holding women, financial records, offshore accounts, shell companies. The whole operation in exchange for a reduced sentence and witness protection. We're moving on all of it right now. How long before you have Morales? We've got teams hitting 6 locations simultaneously. If he's at any of them, we'll have him in custody by noon. At 11:15, the first location was raided. A warehouse in Albuquerque. 12 people arrested. 3 women freed from a locked room. The photos Luna had pulled from Derek's phone were real. Morales had been trafficking women for years. At 11:47, the second location, a ranch outside Santa Fe. 8 arrests. 2 more women recovered. Evidence of money laundering, cash counting machines, ledgers documenting payments. At 12:03, the third location, a storage facility, empty, cleaned out. Someone had tipped them off. Morales was moving faster than the FBI. At 12:29, Agent Rivera called again. We found him. Morales is at a private airstrip outside Roswell. He's got a plane fueled and ready. We're 15 minutes out, but he'll be gone by then. Maria looked at James. How far is Roswell? 90 miles. Hour and a half by car. By bike. 50 minutes if we push it. Maria grabbed her helmet. Rivera, we're closer than you are. We can get there in under an hour if we can delay him until you arrive. Miss Castellanos, do not engage. Morales is dangerous. He's armed. He's got private security. You show up there and someone dies. Then you better get there fast, because we're already moving. Maria hung up, turned to the assembled riders, 97 men and women who dropped everything for 2 children they'd never met, who'd ridden through storms and faced down corrupt systems and stood guard through the night. Morales is running. FBI is an hour away. We can get there in 50 minutes. I'm not ordering anyone. I'm asking who's with me. Every single rider mounted up. 97 motorcycles roaring to life in perfect synchronization. Marcus stayed behind with Emma and Sophie. He looked at Maria. You better come back. Planter Emma grabbed Maria's vest. Miss Maria, please be careful. We need you. Maria knelt down one last time. I need you, too, sweetheart. That's why I'm going to make sure Morales never threatens anyone again. You trust me always. They rode like demons. 97 bikes in formation, pushing at 100 miles per hour on empty desert highways. They reached the airstrip, 107. The plane was already running, engines hot, door open, and Victor Morales was walking toward it. 62 years old, silver hair, expensive suit, carrying a briefcase that probably held enough cash to disappear forever. To bodyguards flanking him, both armed. The motorcycles came out of nowhere, surrounded the airstrip, cut off every exit. 97 riders dismounting, forming a wall between Morales and his escape. Maria walked forward alone. No weapon, just her vest and her word. It's over, Morales. FBI is 5 minutes out. You're not getting on that plane. Morales smiled, calm, controlled, like this was all part of the plan. Miss Castellanos, I admire your tenacity. I really do. But you're out of your depth. You always have been. Maybe, but I'm still standing between you and that plane. Then I'll go through you. The bodyguards raise their weapons. 97 bikers move forward. Not aggressive, not threatening, just present. An immovable wall of leather and loyalty. Morales' smile faded. You're really willing to die for 2 children you barely know. They knocked on my door. That makes them mine. And I protect what's mine, even if it cost you everything. Everything I've got is worth giving for them. Morales looked at the wall of bikers, at the desert road where FBI vehicles were appearing on the horizon, at his plane with its engines running and nowhere to go. This isn't over, Morales said quietly. Yeah, Maria said. It is. The FBI vehicles arrived. Agents poured out, weapons drawn, commands shouted. Morales' bodyguards dropped their guns. Morales himself stood perfectly still as Agent Rivera walked up with handcuffs. Victor Morales, you're under arrest for racketeering, money laundering, human trafficking, conspiracy to commit murder, and about 40 other federal charges. You have the right to remain silent. Morales didn't fight, didn't resist. He looked at Maria one last time as Rivera cuffed him. You ruined everything, Morales said. No, Maria said. To 9-year-old girls ruined everything. I just opened the door. They transported Morales in an armored vehicle. 3 months later, He was convicted on all counts, sentenced to life in federal prison, without possibility of parole. Derek Vaughan testified against him in exchange for a reduced sentence, 30 years instead of life. Judge Crane got 18 years. Officer Brennan got 12. The entire network collapsed. 17 women were recovered from Morales' properties. All of them received medical care, legal assistance, therapy, new starts. The FBI opened investigations in 6 other states based on Voss's testimony. 34 more arrests. 72 victims identified and freed. All because 2 little girls knocked on a door at midnight. Isabel recovered slowly. 3 surgeries to repair the damage Derek had done. Physical therapy to learn to walk without pain. Cognitive therapy to help with the memory gaps 6 months before she could work again. But she made it. Came back stronger, fiercer, determined to make sure no one else went through what she'd survived. She started a foundation called Open Doors, helping domestic violence survivors navigate corrupt systems, providing legal assistance, safe housing, protection when the system failed. The Crimson Riders became the foundation's primary security. 97 people who'd learned that opening doors mattered more than anything else. Emma and Sophie stayed with Maria for 8 months, while Isabel recovered. They lived at the clubhouse, went to school surrounded by bikers who walked them to class and picked them up and made sure nobody ever hurt them again. They learned to ride motorcycles, learned to stand up, learned to fight back, learned that family wasn't about blood. It was about who showed up when you needed them. On Emma's 10th birthday, the Crimson Riders threw a party. 200 people, bikers from 10 states. Cake that covered 3 tables, presents stacked higher than Emma's head. And in the middle of it all, Emma stood on a chair and spoke into a microphone. Last year, I ran 3 miles through a storm because I was scared and alone and didn't know where else to go. I knocked on a door belonging to people I didn't know, and they opened it. They didn't ask questions. They didn't turn us away. They just let us in. And everything changed. So, I want to say thank you to Miss Maria and Marcus and James and everyone who rode for us. Everyone who fought for us. Everyone who stood between us and people who wanted to hurt us. You saved our lives. You saved Mama's life. You gave us a family when we had nothing. And I promise I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be as brave as you were for us. The crowd erupted. 97 bikers on their feet cheering, crying, celebrating 2 little girls who'd survived hell and come out the other side whole. Maria stood in the back watching. Emma caught her eye across the crowd and mouthed 2 words. Thank you. Maria mouthed back. Always. Sophie pulled Maria aside later, quieter than her sister, more reserved, but just as strong. Miss Maria, can I ask you something? Anything, sweetheart. When we knocked on your door that night, were you scared of what might happen if you helped us? Maria thought about that question, about the moment she'd opened the door and seen 2 bleeding children, about the choice she'd made without thinking, about everything that had followed. Yeah, Maria said. Honestly, I was terrified because I knew what helping you might cost. My club, my freedom, maybe my life. But I also knew that if I turned you away, I'd never be able to live with myself. Some things are worth the risk. You and Emma, you were worth everything. Sophie hugged her, arms around Maria's waist, head against her chest. Holding on like Maria was the only solid thing in a world that had tried to break her. I love you, Miss Maria. Maria's eyes burned. I love you too, kiddo. 6 months later, Isabel moved into a small house 3 blocks from the clubhouse. Emma and Sophie had their own rooms, their own beds, their own space. But they spent every Saturday at the clubhouse, family day, helping with charity rides, learning from people who'd become grandparents and aunts and uncles and siblings, all rolled into one. Isabel stood on her porch one evening watching her daughters play in the yard. They were laughing, actually laughing, something she hadn't heard in the dark days when Derek controlled their lives. Maria walked up beside her. How you doing? Better. Some days are hard. I still have nightmares, still wake up expecting Derek to be there. But then I see the girls and I remember we made it. We survived. You did more than survive. You built something new, something better. We couldn't have done it without you. You would have found a way. You're stronger than you know. Isabel turned to face her. Maria, why did you do it, really? Why risk everything for us? Maria watched Emma and Sophie playing, two little girls who'd knocked on a door at midnight and changed everything. Because someone has to open the door, Maria said simply. Someone has to stand up when everyone else looks away. Someone has to fight when the system fails. And if not us, who? If not then, when? Those girls needed help. We were there. That's all it ever comes down to. Being there when it mattered. It mattered, Isabel whispered. It mattered more than you'll ever know. 2 years later, Emma stood in front of a judge again. Different judge, different courtroom, different circumstances. This time, she wasn't scared. This time she wasn't alone. This time she was asking for something she'd never had before. Legal adoption. Maria Castellanos as her legal guardian. Sophie making the same request. Isabel standing beside them supporting their choice, even though it meant sharing her daughters with someone else. The judge, Judge Patricia Hammond, the one who'd ruled in their favor 2 years ago, looked at the paperwork, looked at Emma and Sophie, looked at Maria and Isabel standing side by side. This is unusual, Judge Hammond said. Joint custody between a biological mother and a non-relative guardian. We're family, Emma said. Blood doesn't make you family. Being there makes you family. Miss Maria was there when nobody else was. She opened the door. She fought for us. She's our family just as much as Mama is. Judge Hammond smiled. Miss Castellanos, do you understand what you're agreeing to? Legal responsibility for 2 children, financial support, medical decisions, education, everything that comes with parenthood. I've been doing it for 2 years already, Your Honor. This just makes it official. And Miss Torres, you're comfortable with this arrangement? Isabel looked at Maria, at the woman who'd saved her daughters' lives and asked nothing in return. Maria didn't take my daughters from me. She gave them back. She gave us all a second chance. If they want her as part of their family, I'm honored to share that with her. Judge Hammond signed the papers. Official, legal, binding. Maria Castellanos was now the legal co-guardian of Emma and Sophie Torres. Outside the courthouse, 97 Crimson Riders waited. They'd ridden in from across the country. Arizona, Texas, Colorado, Nevada, Utah, California. Everyone who'd stood guard that first night. Everyone who'd ridden through storms and faced down corrupt systems and proved that family wasn't about blood. It was about who showed up. Emma walked down the courthouse steps, wearing a custom leather vest, tiny child-sized, patches on the back. Property of Crimson Riders, MC Little Sister Emma. Sophie wore a matching one. They climbed onto Maria's motorcycle, one on each side. Helmets on, arms around her waist, and Maria rode through the city with her daughters holding tight and 97 family members riding escorts. And for the first time in her life understood what it meant to have everything that mattered. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She walked into Maria's room at 2 a.m, same time she'd knocked on the clubhouse door 3 years ago. Maria was awake, reading, always ready. Can't sleep, sweetheart. I keep thinking about that night, the storm, running, being so scared I thought I'd die. And I keep wondering, what if you hadn't opened the door? What if you turned us away? Maria set her book down, pulled Emma close. But I didn't, and I never would. That door will always be open for you, for Sophie, for anyone who needs it. That's what we do. We open doors. We stand up. We fight back. And we never ever let anyone face the monsters alone. Emma pressed her face against Maria's shoulder. I love you, Mama Maria. Maria's throat closed. Mama Maria. 2 words she'd never expected to hear. 2 words that meant everything. I love you, too, baby girl, always, because in the end, that's what it came down to. 9-year-old girls ran to the Hells Angels screaming that someone was beating their mother, and 97 strangers became family, and a knock on a door at midnight became a promise that would last a lifetime. A promise that no matter how dark the storm, no matter how dangerous the road, there would always be someone willing to open the door and say the two words that change everything. Come inside.